And that other group, they're prolific. So I think it's a hard thing to break up knowing the production, but we do need to have depth. We had it during the regular season. It sort of dropped off a little bit against Tampa. But it's still something that Bruce can tinker with if he needs to.
Don, you went into camp looking for that third-line center between the three young guys, but you also are cognizant of handing over the keys to the Bergeron and Krejci spot. So, given those two tasks, how do you feel Jacob, Trent, and Jack did?
We actually, Sean was always a part of our plan in terms of allowing somebody to step up into that role. We always felt that with his energy and skating ability, he was going to be very effective. And you described the fact that both Bergeron and Krejci have been given more offensive zone starts and things. So Riley did a very good job there. So we are cognizant that Sean, having played a lot of those situations last year as a fourth-line player and starting in, that he would be able to step up. Now, can we get the production? That's to be determined. That's where we allowed the other players, those three that you spoke about, to go into those roles and play with really good players and see whether or not they were able to take the steps and move forward. And they're all different. They're probably on different trajectories to some degree. Where Jack needs to get strength in his game overall in the skating piece, and he was pretty open. He got his eyes open to that. Being put in those situations on a daily basis and practicing with those players. Obviously he goes back to Oshawa and lights it up this weekend. So we feel really good about where he's headed as a hockey player. Now we need to get him stronger and a little bit quicker in some of his decision making in that regard. Trent, he and Forsback are a little different in certainly their builds and how they play the game. JFK is a little more cerebral in terms of how he does things, and he makes high-end plays. And Trent is sort of just getting his feet wet. It's a big jump for him to go to college and jump in. He played well in Providence last year. He's got a physical component to his game and a matchup situation that we think that he can continue to grow, as well as develop the offensive side of his game and continue to. So is he ready for that every night the way Sean has built that into his game? That's where we would probably say he's not. And we allow him to now had a real good meeting with him this morning and set parameters for him to go and start to build that. We compared him to some players around the league. Whether that takes 30, 40, 50 or a whole year, let's see. But that's up to the player himself. And if injuries do present themselves, we feel comfortable that one of those guys can come in and fill a role.
Don, what's your expectations for David Krejci this year, and just where do you see his career progressing right now?
When David's healthy, he's a very highly productive player. He has elite offensive skills, processes the game still at a high level. He runs our second unit, which at times people might think is a bit of a slap or a step backwards, but it really is not, because we need balance in both units, and he takes ownership of that second group. And he enjoys playing with some of the younger players now, where in years past people were like, well, he needs a big power forward, established player. And I think Jake is a good example of David enjoying to play with a younger player with the pace and the ability to go get pucks for him and to play a catch-and-go game, which he does. And Heinen sort of reminds me of how David played with Louis in that regard, and possess the puck and make plays in the small areas of the ice while also being responsible. And it's allowed us to continue to grow our younger players while putting with experienced guys. It's a luxury for us to certainly have Patrice and David as our top two centers.
He said earlier in the summer he was a little taken aback by some of the stuff that was going around social media, when you guys were out to Tavares, and am I going to get traded? And he was worried. When you read that, what do you feel?
Again, I had a conversation with David as a result of some of those things that were speculated upon, and he was more of a reaction to what people were sending him to his private accounts as to, okay, this is how what should happen to you, as opposed to how the team was trying to potentially explore things that would help. And so really it was probably communicated effectively between David and I the way it should be.
And you feel he's happy?
Yeah.
I was asking Bruce about